Right, let's test if those mics are working.
Test. Okay.
I take that as a yes. And with that, welcome to this podcast.
No, you gotta do a funny opener this week.
Shit.
I'm putting you on the spot.
I could have dropped my bonbon. For reference, I just brought up a caramel bonbon and dropped it in my glass. But it was actually Jay's joke, so I can't take credit for that.
And with that, welcome to episode 18 of Might As Well The Podcast. A podcast with two guys sitting in an attic. Right next to a green screen.
That is true. The explanation for that, and I'm gonna get into that in a second. My week has been pretty unexpectedly great when it comes to social media, right? So, from all this, I'm also been talking about history on this podcast for quite a minute. I decided to just talk about history on TikTok, right? I just make 60-second videos, and one of them kind of went viral in a weird thing. I think it's now at 350,000 views.
Okay.
It's strange, but I also have 6,000 followers on TikTok now, and it just all happened in the last 3-4 days. So that was weird. I didn't expect that to happen, but I take it.
You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Pretty much.
No, I'm happy for you. Yeah, great.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
You're officially a TikToker now.
I guess. I don't know. It feels very surreal, in a way where it's I feel like I did a 40-second video about Machu Picchu, and it's just weird how many people saw it. That's a crazy amount of number. That's a crazy number. So
it is, yeah.
Yeah, but it's a blessing. I take it.
It's hella nice.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of nice... this is a nice thing that happened to me today. I first need to get rid of something before we can start the podcast, because we were supposed to hang out before this podcast, but I couldn't because I was fixing my Wi-Fi. I literally have been talking to customer service from 9:30 till 5.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, because basically what happened, I had a contract with an internet provider, and they provided my Wi-Fi, and someone else asked for a contract on the same address, and they just cancelled they terminated my contract. So I woke up to an email saying, "Oh yeah, here's a confirmation for your cancellation of your contract." It's I don't know. And then 4 minutes later, "Yeah, you weren't in time with sending back your stuff, so you need to pay a fine of 75 euros.
What?
4 minutes.
What?
I needed to send a package to Amsterdam in 4 minutes.
What? Okay.
Yeah. So I had to call about that, and it's still not fixed. So that's great.
Oh, it's still not fixed.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, I got fucked over there. Yeah. This is a very short explanation of all the shit that happened, but that's pretty much it.
Oh, fuck. Fuck, man. But
yeah.
But
then, I wasn't having it, but then I looked at my phone and I saw a notification from Instagram and from the Might As Well account.
Weird.
And actually someone reached out to us.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I don't know if this person wants to be named by name, so I'm not gonna.
Okay.
You know this person. But remember how you talked in the podcast about what is the oldest brick in Leeuwarden, right? What would the oldest stone be?
Yeah.
Someone actually sent us a picture of a little bit of a book, I think. And it's the oldest house of Leeuwarden.
Oh.
And where to find it and a little bit of information. It's in Dutch, but I can translate it for you after the podcast.
Okay.
So that's the oldest house of Leeuwarden.
Okay. So more than 550 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I read that right. But nice. Okay. That's some clarification.
Yeah, and how nice that the people just send that to us.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How supportive. Shout out to my guy, or girl. I don't know.
Girl.
I don't know.
I think you can say it's a girl.
Okay, yeah,
okay.
I didn't know either way, man.
Yeah, but
shout out to you.
It's one of those. You gotta enjoy the little things, right?
Oh yeah.
It's how nice.
Yeah.
I think Philip will appreciate this.
Oh, I definitely did. Shout out to that listener.
Yeah.
On that note, I actually have a talking point that's somewhat in the direction of this.
I'm all ears.
And for various interesting reasons, have you heard of the village of Oosterbeek here in the Netherlands. I think it's close to Arnhem.
Do you mean Oosterbeek or something?
Could be, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you heard about it?
I've heard the name.
Okay, but like nothing more.
I don't think so.
Okay, so two weird things about the small village that have kind of come up like independently from another, right?
Okay.
So I wanted to see what about like the oldest buildings in the Netherlands, right?
Yeah.
Googled that, right? I was like, if I can't figure out like what it is in the Netherlands, like in Leeuwarden, I might as well go over the whole country.
Yeah.
And it happens to be a church in that village, right?
We kind of figured how smart we are, huh?
Yeah. I mean, but so far it's like, yeah, it's a church.
Makes sense, yeah.
No, it doesn't really matter. This village has 10,000 in population, right?
Okay.
Now, another really, really strange thing happened in the same village in a hotel. Hotel de Bilderberg. I don't know if you know about the Bilderberg Society.
Oh, yeah, those fuckers. I've heard about them, yeah.
Yeah. They both were, like, both of that is a weird coincidence, I guess, if you want.
Yeah.
Can still be coincidence.
Maybe for the listeners who don't know.
The Hotel de Bilderberg is where the Bilderberg Society had its first meeting. Now, the Bilderberg Society concludes out of, like, 150 highly military, political, just really basically one of the most powerful people of Europe, right? And they were founded after the Second World War to ensure that there's not another war that's gonna happen. That's their original mission. However, their meetings are completely anonymous. You have no idea who actually is a member of this group. And now it's just kind of like they probably are doing something else than preventing. Like, they probably do some more shit, right? Yeah. Especially with all of it being so anonymous, it's pretty interesting. And they switch the location to like a hotel in a different country each year, so it's not like
they stay off the radar a bit.
Exactly, but it was founded there.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a pretty weird coincidence. And I heard about the Bilderberg Society, like I never heard of them before, and the church like in like a matter of 2 days, right? And I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. But sometimes weird coincidences do happen.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Speaking of this subject, I actually also kind of looked into something.
Oh, okay.
Kind of with being secretive, because I feel like we both know the CIA does a lot of shit that we don't know of, right?
Oh yeah.
And I found this article about Gary Webb. That's Webb with double B.
Okay.
Who was a journalist, and he made a whole article about it because he did research, and there are books written about it. So I didn't really check if it's a valid source, but there was just so much information that said the same shit and books, so I kind of figured it would be right. But he revealed that the CIA hired drug traffickers to sell a shit ton of cocaine in the US, like in the 90s.
Okay.
And I don't want to get into too much detail, but it was to create like untraceable funds. And they used the funds to finance a terrorist organization that wanted to overthrow the Nicaraguan government or something. But that's not the fucked up part. The fucked up part is by, getting the drug traffickers to sell so much drugs in the United States. That's the start of the crack epidemic. That's where it started.
Man.
Yeah, and this guy published this. The mainstream media didn't want to talk about it, of course.
Makes sense.
And he got death threats and everything, and he kept standing by his article, and even lost his marriage, and later he was found dead. It's ruled as a suicide, but he had 2 bullet holes in his head. So.
The typical I shoot myself in the head twice when I kill myself.
Yeah, double tap.
Yeah, that's totally what happens. I mean, makes a lot of sense, it's terrifying how shit like that keeps popping up, right?
Yeah.
These stories, and you're just like, I hate that it makes sense,
Yeah, and I don't know, like we have a little voice, but I still wanted to have some appreciation for Gary Webb for doing this and dedicating his life to this cause.
Oh yeah, literally. I mean, giving his life for providing information about what the government or secret government or whatever you want to call it, is doing.
It's also kind of weird that we're all just so okay with it, like the government does secret shit. Yeah. That's alright.
It's super weird, but it's even weirder to me how some people have the true illusion, right? like where you see, shit that happened with Hitler, right? Like what he did.
Wait, who's Hitler?
What he did was terrible, completely terrible. But why was he on the cover of Time magazine? Like and they found out from like the whole Hitler situation that people were okay with it as long as they weren't controlled, or they had the confirmity that they weren't mind controlled, right?
Yeah.
And that's why people resent him now, because he's like, oh, he, mind controlled an entire nation.
We discussed this before. You need to put it in the context of the time.
Yeah.
And it could just be the case that something just like that is happening right now.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been doing it. I mean, not on that scale, but if you look at people like Bill Cosby, for example, who we kind of praised for a long while.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people, and ideologies too, It's not like, religion killed how many people?
Yeah.
And we act like we live in this time where we're so sophisticated. Oh, we don't do that anymore. I feel like some people, it's just kind of like, I don't know, but it's a harsh reality, but also very well covered up, I guess.
Yeah, but also kind of part of life, because I also can't really imagine the world without these elements in there, if that makes sense.
Which is sad. Honestly, which is sad, but it is true, I guess.
I don't know, I guess, because we both know perfect isn't a thing, right?
No.
And it would be hella weird to live in a perfect society.
True, but at the same time, we don't know what a society like that would be that good to be considered perfect would look like.
True.
Right? So necessarily, maybe, because if we say, okay, of course nothing is perfect, but then I think it would also not be like a weird utopian kind of thing, everybody lives in the same house type of deal, because that is kind of terrifying. But like in general, I don't know, I think maybe it has some different facets.
I don't know, I think there's always like good inside of evil and evil inside of goodness, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah. There's,
and you kind of need the balance of bad shit happening as well.
True.
So I don't know, it's getting real deep now.
But it's interesting. And I had a really long conversation with my mother today about family heritage, right?
Okay.
Like recently, I've been getting like a little bit of a vibe. I want to figure out like where's my bloodline from, Because I heard this great theory that necessarily we all keep the certain parts, and it makes sense because we have a DNA and it has like a lineage, right?
Mm-hmm.
That we have certain attributes within all of us that are based on the people that have lived before us, right?
Yeah.
So I just want to figure out, like, I don't know, like, where do I come from? Like, does it something mean? And I talked to my mom about this, and apparently, like, my granddad has an aunt or something that is connected to the Russian Tsar family.
Okay.
So, like, weird, right? It gets even weirder because it's that part of the Tsar family that almost all of them got slaughtered in 1918 because a certain, other power didn't want them to...
Yeah.
We know the deal. But that was interesting, so I was kind of like, if that would be the case, right? Because apparently they had, like, a lot of jewelry from the Tsar family, and I don't think you get that easily. But I have no idea. But who knows?
Interesting, man.
Maybe saying that in the podcast will also get me killed. Who knows? Who knows?
It's the age-old question, right? Where do we come from? And where do we go?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited. My best friend's mother, she is a shaman, right? She's like really into spirituality, consciousness, that whole type of deal.
Uh-huh.
And I think in general that has a bad reputation in the eye of like the regular person, so to speak. At least sometimes I feel like. What's your take?
I don't know if if it has a bad reputation necessarily.
No, in a sense where like people look at them like, oh, they're weird, that type of deal.
Well, the thing is, I think if you point it out like that, people would say it's weird. But unconsciously, I think everyone is very spiritual. If that makes sense.
Okay, that's
so if you would have a conversation with them, probably they wouldn't think it's weird, because when you say like spirituality, you only think of like the people who really stand out, and yeah, those can be weird.
Yeah.
If you look at what their normal standard is, of course.
Yeah.
So I think first reaction would be that's weird, and then if they think about it, then not that weird.
Okay. Okay. I mean, makes sense. But anyways, I mean, she's a great person, and I'm really interested because I asked her if I mean I haven't done it yet, so I'll probably give an update on this next podcast episode about a past life type of a reading, right? So like certain
Yeah.
spiritual shamans or guides, they're able to link into the I think Ashic records, which is like the records of the universe. It's like a mental thing. Apparently, like great inventors like Tesla and Einstein and stuff, right? They were able to read those records like from their mind, and it's like a something that gets also like passed down in DNA, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
or to some degree at least. And there are a couple of really famous people who are apparently able to read those. So I don't know. She told me that maybe she wants to see what type of past life I had or something, and it
And
sounds interesting.
what would that change for you in your everyday life, knowing what your or who your great 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 granddad was fucking, or what he was doing? Like, what would it change for today?
That's a
Because you do want to know. Like, I want to know
Yeah.
the reason why you want to know.
I think it's just general curiosity, like that I have in spirituality and like history in general right now, and maybe I don't know, it would give me like an indication, like maybe just like a small, because I don't expect anything big from this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's also one thing where like I personally like I really want to believe it's real, but it's tough to prove that it actually is, you know.
Yeah.
So it's a mixture, but I think if I take just like a small thing from it or like just a small sign, I don't know, but we'll see where it goes, you know. I don't know that yet.
But how would it make your life different?
Yeah, but I can't know that yet since it hasn't happened to me. Like
Yeah,
I
okay,
can't
true.
answer that question.
Yeah. Maybe I should formulate it differently. What are you expecting or hoping to get from this?
I mean, I've read a book from Edgar Casey, who's like one of the, like, I don't know, he's a famous psychic. He did a lot of readings in his sleep, and he talked a lot about Atlantis, and that whenever like there was someone that wanted a reading from him, that he talked about, oh yeah, you were like, I don't know, someone from Atlantis or something, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm hoping for is like that maybe I get some information like that, you know, like I don't know, maybe ancient Egypt or some bullshit, you know, like I don't want to say bullshit, but like it would be just be interesting, or I'm curious about it, but
Okay,
I can't necessarily
fair.
say it's I can't say what I hope for, because in the end you don't know.
Yeah. Do you think then, like, if you get the reading and it says like, yeah, your ancestors were these Egyptians, are you gonna say that makes sense? Like, do you think
I
your
don't know.
ancestors shape you in a way?
I think so.
Also, interest-wise, then, like, would you be automatically be interested in what your ancestors were doing? Because of course they shaped you DNA-wise, right?
Yeah.
But do you think just because you have an interest in something that can be given through DNA and
Maybe
generations?
maybe through consciousness, because there's the study that's I think, I don't know who did it, but it was about certain different races, like without racism or anything, but it was just purely done to see, you know, for example, with certain sayings like you know, like a Native American, like he's tough and he doesn't, there's this saying in Germany, ein Indianer kennt keinen Schmerz. It's like a Native American doesn't know pain. I don't know if that's a thing in like Dutch or English, but they did a study, and turns out that Native Americans, like the ones that live today, are way more pain resistant than like say white people or people from an Asian ethnicity.
Yeah, but that's just DNA, right? That's not an interest or something. That's just how your body is formed and how it reacts.
Of course, but you can also say that, but I think to a certain degree consciousness is also part of the DNA, because where does it come from? It
We
would
don't
also
know.
need to be somewhere entangled, right?
We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know.
But I think to me it would make sense if it would be.
Okay.
Um,
Like you believe in a collective consciousness then?
I do.
Okay. That's cool.
To a certain degree, I guess. But I wanted to say something else about this. What? I believe because you said interests, right? Where I'd be like, oh yeah, I don't know what someone like would be interested in the past. Maybe it's more about how, you know, a purpose, right? And I mean this, like, way from the beginning, like, I feel like people are always looking for a purpose for their life, right? And maybe that purpose is something that gets transferred over generations. Like, maybe your soul is just being transferred into body to body, and you have that purpose that you carry around with you. Now, I'm not saying just from my past reading I would know what my purpose is, but maybe, I don't know, it could be like a small indication or a hint that if I'm on the right track or not.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. Now, did you see I think it came from TikTok, the trend super straight this week?
Oh yes, yeah.
What's your opinion on super straight?
I don't. It's weird, but at the same time, I understand it.
Yeah. So basically, what super straight is you're not just straight, you're also not sexually attracted to trans people.
Yeah.
If I'm correct.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think their main argument was just like when you're straight, you don't necessarily want to have sex with a gay person, and it doesn't make you homophobic. This doesn't mean you're transphobic.
Yeah.
And I think the internet just lost their minds.
Yeah.
Over straight people coming up with their own sexuality.
Oh yeah, that was not okay with people.
No,
that was not okay with people.
Yeah, and it's just so weird to me because it still says so little. Like, yeah, I'm straight, and I'm also not attracted to trans people.
But I don't understand. I think like the whole motion is also kind of meant to make fun of the whole thing. Not necessarily that that's the origin of it, but I think it kind of can come across that way.
It's it is kind of playing the trick, right? It's kind of with religion that you can say, I believe in this, and then like the spaghetti monster religion, where they said, well, I believe there's a giant spaghetti monster.
Yeah.
And why would my belief be worth less than your belief?
Yeah.
I think it's kind of those like anti but the same movements, weirdly.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like, because it doesn't say much. Like, I'm straight and I'm not into trans people, because then you can still be heterosexual, allosexual, ginesexual, super straight. That would still mean the same shit.
That's very true. But we have so many genders and sexuality things right now.
Well, that's the thing that I wanted to get into.
Oh, okay.
Do you think, because dare I say, there's almost some shame in saying I'm straight nowadays. I'm a white straight male. Like, you just know you're gonna get shit, right? Do you think people are creating the super straight to also have an alternative sexuality and therefore belong to the LGBTQ plus, or the alphabet people, or whatever you want to call it, group? And does that indicate that there's a privilege to being part of the alphabet people?
Do you want to get cancelled?
I'm just asking the question. I don't know. I just want to think about this, discuss it. I mean, everything is possible, right? We can be totally wrong. We can be totally right.
Just quickly, one wrong step, and we both cancelled. This podcast doesn't exist anymore. But I think it's just a weird system, because I feel like a lot of this is based on hatred for someone else's feeling, right? Because like where we have, for example, we have a lot of trans people that feel discriminated because some people feel some type of way about them, right? Have like a prejudice against them.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's good to have that prejudice, but I don't think making it go the other way is the solution of the problem. Like,
yeah.
Hatred against hatred is not going to make it.
No, of course, hatred is not going to solve anything.
Yeah.
What I kind of do see is that we kind of try to label everyone, right? And by labeling people, you just point out what's different about us. Where there's so much more that we have in common, then that's different.
Yeah.
But I also feel like right now we're creating so many labels that the labels are not going to mean shit anymore. And therefore, it's more of a... Then we can focus on everyone being like focusing on equality again, and we won't even think about the label because there are so many out there that it doesn't really matter what you are, right?
That is very
and that
true.
Would be great, right? If it doesn't matter what you are, that's the whole thing, right? About being inclusive. It doesn't matter. Like, I would love it if because I know it's gonna take time. So let's say when we're old and I wanted to say we have a kid. No. We both have a kid.
Alright, when we have a kid. Yeah.
Yeah, when we have a kid, it's gonna be a
When we
fucked up
adopted a kid.
Yeah, might as well adopt a kid, you know.
Yeah. Oh, God.
But I think it would be great if that kid could just come home with whatever, a guy or girl, a non-binary person, a sandwich, whatever, and then would just not even be the question of, oh, what are you then, or what is this? Just okay.
Yeah.
And I feel like with not labeling shit, I don't know. It's a weird fine line, because in a way, if you label something, you address it and you talk about it, and that's very good. But on the other hand, you keep it different by labeling it.
Yeah.
And now there are so many labels, and I don't know, but I know some people who don't really fit to a label either. So it's like, why bother to label?
Yeah. But I think it's human nature to just try to make sense out of everything that we have.
Yeah, that's true.
But I like your thought that if we have too many labels, the labels don't mean shit anymore.
Yeah, right.
And that's necessarily, I think, also the direction that we're headed in right now. I mean, if this whole TikTok thing, like this, I don't know, I don't want to say bubble, you know, didn't really work out that well with Bitcoin. But it's interesting to see where we will be in like 5 years if shit like that continues. Like, we were gonna have a straight up LGBTQ. I don't even know what we have. We have like a weird societal war, but at the same time, I hope it goes away.
And like the combination I already gave, that's literally the same as being just super straight. And then if you also like take into account the amount of genders you can have, there is an endless amount of possibilities out there. So there are so many options now that I hope at some point it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, exactly. But we reached this point where you can dead ass invent your own gender and go out with the world, and you have people supporting it. Yeah. And that's good, don't get me wrong. But I don't think you should name your gender in that way. Just be who you are.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But on the other hand, like, I do identify as a male, so I can put myself in the position to be in. Yeah. So I can't really have an opinion about it. Well, I can have an opinion about it, but I can't know what it's like.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
True.
But the one thing that's kind of tricky now, because we're, I guess, in a transition as society with the gender thing, is that some people, especially in the States now, are getting fired over using the wrong pronoun. But there's no limit to the amount of pronouns. So I could be working with you and you call me a he, a she, or a they, and I can still say, no, that's not the pronoun I wanted you to use, and then you can get fired.
It's gonna be like a guessing game at one point. You know, it's like, what is it, he?
Yeah, no. And there are no limits, right?
Yeah.
So then, like, I do want to be very progressive, but people getting fired over that. If people want to do wrong with it, they can, and you know, it's sad that there's a loophole like that, if that makes sense.
But I think progressive is not always the best thing, right? Where it's like, you want to be as open-minded as possible, but sometimes it also just doesn't help getting shit done, right?
Yeah, and also it's not just the progressive people. Like, you also need to think about the conservatives. And if you are too progressive, then you're only gonna like, then it's kind of like a counter effect. And the conservatives are only gonna repel. Well, if you gradually do it and find a midway, maybe, then they're more likely to become more progressive. And the other way around too. I don't want to say progressive is better than conservative. I just think it is. I'm not saying it is.
But your own opinion.
Yeah.
And to conclude this, we're all love, whatever gender or sexuality you identify as. Man, as long as you're a listener, you're completely fine. No, but in general, you know, it's all love. And whatever you decide to identify as, or whatever you decide you want to be fucking, then go ahead. Yeah. Feel free, and we're supportive.
Yeah. We could just come to a consensus, and we just can have one sexuality where we just fuck whatever what we feel like fucking in that moment, and then everyone can identify. Because even if you're asexual or something, then you don't feel like fucking anything in that moment, then you can also fit to that sexuality.
That's true. So what's the name of that?
Might as well. might as well-ity.
I like it. I think it's also just good to put out, you know. Might as well, you know, fuck it. You know, if there's something I can fuck, I fuck. If I don't want to fuck, I don't fuck.
Yeah.
Simple
Right?
as it is.
Like, I just fuck who I want to fuck in what moment with consent, of course. Oh my god. Should put it out. It's way earlier. With consent. Always consent.
Yeah, fill out a form before. Crucial.
Oh, that sounds really dark. I just fuck what I want whenever I want. Whenever I feel like.
It sounds like Hugh Hefner. No offense, but like he probably could have. Probably being a celebrity 101 right there. Yo, I also wanted to talk about this. Astrology. What do you think about astrology?
I think it's fucking interesting. Especially because, like, so early into society, we got into astrology. Like, already in the Greek times, we kind of figured, like, there's something going on with these stars.
Yeah.
And there are the same shapes every now and then there. Like, how does it work? So I think it's really cool that... And it just seems so wholesome. Like, just... Like, everyone loves staring into the stars, right?
Yeah.
At night. Like, everyone loves to do that. And we all have these questions when we look at it. So astrology is a way of answering these questions and also raising a ton more of these questions. So yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing, but it's so hated on in the scientific community. Like the astronomers, which is also the words are way too close to each other, by the way. I get them mixed up all the time. But astronomy hates on astrology, which is like that's so counterproductive. Like you look at the stars and you name them and you analyze them, and the other one is like, hey, but that makes you brave. You know, it's like I mean, I don't know. But it's really interesting, and I read a book on astrology. I'm reading it right now, and it's really interesting, like to see what they say about like each sign. And I also did like a birth chart reading with a friend of mine, like some time ago, and it was really interesting because some parts of it really seem to make sense. And of course you can say, it's generic and this and that, you know, but I don't know, astrology is also one of those things where it's like, how can we prove that the planets would not have an impact on our lives, you know? I mean, the moon moves the waves of the earth, so why wouldn't have certain planets in the way they are when you're born have an impact on the way that you are as a person?
I mean, I do get your thought, but just to give a counter argument for the conversation, right?
Yeah, of course.
Because like an effect on water is something different than an effect on like psyche.
100%.
Like that would be the argument I would give. Like I don't want to just disregard the thing you were saying or anything. Like there is some good truth to it, but that's just maybe a thought that people against it would say.
No, and I think it's good that you did, and again, you know, that's why I said we can't prove either. It's not like we can definitively say, oh yeah, this is, you know, this is fact, but we can also not say that this is not fact.
Yeah, that's the thing. We can't prove it's right, but we also can prove it's wrong. So.
Exactly. So it's, you know, same with religion. It's up to you if you believe in it or if you don't.
Yeah.
But as long as you have an open mind and acknowledge that it could be a possibility.
Yeah, just
then,
realize it's a belief.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It's literally in the word belief.
Yeah.
It's not a knowing or something.
Yeah. And there's this in the book I read, he talks a lot about the difficulties in the field, but one thing that had me fucking laughing, right? There's a astronomer or like a scientist convention that is necessarily going after astrology, right? Or like certain other things that are in the metaphysical realm that like scientists are like, this is bogus, you know? Like the rational thinkers of this world.
Yeah.
You know what this this federation is called? CSI Cop. It's like, wow. Real creative there, right? It's like
that's so wag.
Yeah, but it, like, of course, like they spell it out to some scientific, I don't know, some bullshit.
I hope they do, at least. Yeah. Jesus.
But like CSI Cop, I'm like, bro, how can you take yourself seriously?
Oh no.
Oh, I also, you know, last week we had the great topic of conspiracy theories, right? And
as we do every week.
Oh yeah,
it always comes down to conspiracy theories.
Also very true. But I decided to give Alex Jones another listen, right?
Yeah. Okay. I have a new opinion about Alex Jones. So please continue.
Okay. Now again, I want to clarify. I do not simply believe anything that he's saying. I don't think he's a really credible source. But there's one thing that he talked about where I was just kind of like, man, this would be fucking crazy, you know? So like he talked about that NASA, right, kind of took over as one of the secret governments in the States, and that they don't really do space travel anymore. They do dimensional travel and interdimensional travel. And it sounds super interesting, but apparently it started in like also Silicon Valley and shit, where they now have meetings with interdimensional beings. And the way they do it is wild, right? So he says that all of them are on like psychedelics, and they get their heart shut off, or like weird methods like that to like allow them to like go into this another realm of reality and talk to elves and other beings. And it's weird because people have I mean, of course, like, again, I don't want to say that, you know, source Alex Jones, but still, they also talk, like, Joe Rogan, for example, he always talks about his DMT experience, that he saw elves in those psychedelic realms. So, like, I don't know, and I mean, we did psychedelics, but I haven't had anything that like someone spoke to me, you know.
No, I didn't see the elf on the shelf or anything.
No,
like
exactly.
No.
What's your thoughts?
Well, someone pointed this out and never really realized that, because I just saw Alex Jones on like the GRE and shit and some other stuff, but I never really watched his own show that he has.
Yeah.
Which looks like a weird ass cheap porn set, by the way. It's ridiculous.
But
the amount of products he sells, like half of what he's saying is just marketing for selling his products that he has a web shop, and some of the shit is like a survival kit or something where you're like, okay, fair, you know.
Yeah.
But there's also just some random bullshit on there where you're like, you're just, you know, milking titties here. What are you doing? Yeah. And I know it's also there's just some like he has some very interesting ideas that I really like, but he's also saying shit like the government is putting stuff in the water that's making us gay. Look at frogs or something, because he saw a gay frog somewhere, or that shit. I'm like,
I mean, the gay frog thing is apparently real though. Like this, I think it's a pesticide that turns frogs gay.
Yeah, but that it's an active act by the government, and that they're turning society gay as well. Or you're like.
I wouldn't call it gay, you know. I think there are many identifications now. So actually, let's cancel Alex Jones, you know, for his bigotry. No, but I agree, and I think he has some interesting theories, but he's fucking it up for himself. If he would just, you know, be more scientific about what he knows, because I think he does know some shit. I don't think he's complete bullshit, but I think he just makes himself look like he's a complete bullshitter.
Yeah, but that's part of his act, right? It's kind of this whole bombaric figure that rages over everything. That's kind of also his selling point.
But I don't think it's his act. I don't think it's an act. I think that's how he is.
No, okay, it is how, but it might be a little bit exaggerated, if that makes sense.
Could be. I mean, the Joe Rogan podcast with him are always the weirdest shit. The one I watched was with Joe Rogan and Eddie Bravo, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Eddie Bravo came in, right? And Alex Jones was like, "Oh, Eddie, choke me out! I want to be choked out right now. I can do it. I've done it all the time in high school." And it's just like, the dude just walked through the door. You know, I don't even know if they knew each other, but it's like kind of like, that's kind of strange.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
He really was insistent on like Eddie Bravo making him it was super uncomfortable to watch. It was weird. It was weird.
Yeah, I don't know. But just the moment people use like spreading the word to sell other shit, I'm already a bit biased. If that makes or I'm sensing a bias. That makes sense. Like if you're using your platform to talk about conspiracies mainly because it's like 50-50 to sell your products, it's kind of like, are you like, do you have a double agenda here? I don't know.
Yeah, but that's why it's so weird. I think he would be just taken so much more serious if he would cut all that I mean, I think now it's too late, but like if he wouldn't have done all that shit, I think.
Yeah, but I don't mean it's kind of why he became so famous, right? Because all the short clips of him just went viral, right?
True. Also fair enough, I guess. I don't know, but
I
interesting
think a lot of
character.
people who are not into conspiracies, if they see a clip of Alex Jones, they do recognize him.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, he's super famous. Like, he's
Yeah.
known as the conspiracy guy. And that's some repetition, right? A lot of people talk about conspiracies, but to be the conspiracy guy, I guess that's some novelty. But I don't know. He definitely makes you terrified. Like, when you listen to a podcast, like, because he's so deep in it, right?
Yeah.
Where you're like, man, I hope this motherfucker is not speaking the truth. You know, it's like, that's the type of
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. Yeah. True. True. He has some crazy shit.
Wild things, man. Wild things.
Are you excited for the new Space Jam movie?
I don't know. I don't even think I watched the old one. I'm bad with classical movies, man. I'm sorry.
Did you see the whole outrage on the internet?
I didn't. I saw like one picture of LeBron in the Space Jam movie, but like that's all I've seen.
Oh no, yeah, you have the what's she called, Lola Bunny or something,
Yeah.
and she had like
she was hot.
yeah. This is what I want to address
Okay.
because they kind of got rid of her curves and her cropped up for the new Space Jam. Because they didn't want to sexualize the character, but I don't get it because it's a bunny.
Yeah, it is a bunny.
It's a bunny.
It
Why
is a
are
bunny.
all these fucking weeps complaining about the fucking bunny is not wearing a crop top? It's a bunny.
It's also very true. I mean, if we look at Donald Duck, that's basically a walking sexual harassment case. The dude is never wearing pants.
True.
But like, it's in general, I think we have certain characters in our past that always create some emotion. Like, tell me you didn't think Kim Possible was hot.
Yeah.
Or She-Go. But I
but,
guess
you know,
the human,
yeah.
of course. But like, she's still kind of cute. Like, you know, I forgot what's her name. Lolita?
Lola Bunny, I think.
Lola Bunny? I don't know. Look, you know,
Speaking of, I someone asked me this question last week. I think they're listening. Shout out to you guys. What would be the freakiest Disney princess?
freakiest Disney princess. First, I need a graph where every age of Disney princesses is listed. Otherwise, I don't feel certified I can answer this question.
We're just gonna assume they're all 18
Oh
plus.
God.
Okay.
Oh, this is a horrible topic. But okay, yeah, keep going.
I mean, I want to hear you think. Like Ariel, for example. She do some weird sushi shit or something.
Sushi shit, man. She taking her legs off. Shit getting crazy. Well, you know that shit is wet. I don't know how. I don't know how sexual we can
I mean,
go
we
with
have Snow White with 7 dwarfs.
Also pretty kinky.
Yeah,
Also pretty kinky. Did she have her own bed?
I think so.
I haven't.
I don't know because she just came into their house, right? So why would they have an
True.
extra bed?
Did she pay rent? Because if not, I've seen some videos.
I think I know how she paid rent.
Yeah, exactly. Man, I really hope they all
What else do we
18+.
have?
Moana, one of the more recent ones.
Oh yeah, I
I
didn't
guess.
see that one.
But like,
She freaky?
I don't know, Polynesian people have some history, I guess. I don't know what more to say to it.
I love how hesitant you were saying that sentence, like you really didn't wanna.
Yes, because she really doesn't seem like 18.
Then we have Cinderella.
How did that bitch lose her damn shoe?
Right? It's a perfect fit.
Yeah, it is. It is.
But no, I think I know the freakiest, and I think it's Belle who was willing to fuck a beast.
Okay, definitely.
And
Belle,
also
she's in it for the D for sure.
could leave the castle at any point. Saw furniture moving, and you know what? I'm staying.
Stay with this, 7-foot berry guy.
I bet she was kind of disappointed when he turned into a prince.
I think so too. She's like, fuck, I'm into bestiality. I have the might as well sexuality. I was ready to fuck this monster. I don't want to say monster, you know. Don't want to discriminate.
And I guess that chandelier can also be fun.
True. I guess. Certain way. As long as it's not lit, then could lead to some.
Or if you're
damage.
really freaky.
I mean, true. Drop some of the candle thing. You know, getting
The
steamy.
wax.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant. Also,
Just drop the
Rapunzel.
whole-
Rapunzel with her hair, man. That bitch strong. Like putting like someone can climb up just using her hair. She's dedicated for a guy to came
Now-
up. Desperate.
Do the curtains match? The cracks.
That's a good question.
Imagine just bringing your machete to that monstrosity.
It's like, I'm a virgin. You don't say. Sling. No one has been here since. That's a good question. But then I guess it would be visible through the dress, right? Either, like, where would you put all that hair? Because either it would need to come out.
Well, maybe it
from
goes
under
up
the
the
dress.
back, and then it just like it's part of her hair.
Ooh, she just bundles the just two sources. Maybe that's why it's so strong. That makes sense. Duality, good and bad.
Now we just need to figure out if it's water resistant or not.
Oh god, this is a territory. Who else is there? What's that name? Also, the one that's like in China and like with
Mulan.
Mulan.
Oh yeah, she
freaky.
She dressed up as a guy.
Yeah,
to be surrounded by guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
kind
know.
of sus.
You know. That's yeah.
Yeah, but
nice communal showers there, I think.
I mean, definitely. How did she do that? How did she manage that?
I don't know.
It's like someone was like, "Hey, damn, you have like a. How do you not have a dick?"
Ah shit, forgot it in my tent.
Yeah. I forgot it in the changing room. I'm gonna be right back. Straps the strap on, dildo on.
I hope you're not super straight, dude.
There's some topic. Well, if there's any episode we've done today where we have a high chance of being cancelled, for sure this one.
This is the ticket to our downfall right here.
Oh yeah. There's only one way. It's down. We'll see where it goes, man. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah. Well, luckily we only have like not that many people listening, so
shout out to all you people listening. On that note, it's like it's a blessing that you guys seem to enjoy this podcast and give it a good vibe. Yeah, I mean, we're 46 minutes into.
Oh,
have anything more to say?
Well, I just remember that last week I left off with, I'm gonna tell this amazing
Exactly. You got it.
But now I'm kind of starting to think I might have forgot it. It was the White Salamander. It was about the Book of Mormon.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and they had this story that, I don't know, it sounds like a Hobbit, Mortimer, whatever, an angel came down to Earth and showed this guy the golden plates with all the values and baselines that the Book of Mormon is based on.
Okay.
Then people figured that there was an angel document that stated that it was not an angel who guided him, it was a white salamander.
Interesting.
And that kind of changes the overall vibe of the whole story in more of a medieval tale, with a white salamander.
Yeah, definitely.
And not a biblical angel, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
So people didn't want that document to ever be ever come known to the public, right?
Yeah.
And I think people even got killed over it. And it's like this whole trading
Probably.
world into ancient documents like that. And I thought that was really cool.
Oh yeah, and we see that not just with that story, but all over history. Like, I think a main reason for why the Spaniards destroyed all the writings and everything that they could grasp from like the South America folk, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it had to do with the creation story, because the creation story in the Sumerian texts was like like one of the oldest texts, like predates the Bible, was very, very matching with the story that the Aztecs, Incas, and Mayas told. And I don't think that's a coincidence. If like someone from Middle East and people from South America and people from China all have somewhat similarities in one story.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I hate to break it to all your Catholics and Christians out there, but I mean, we can definitely see like, especially like factors like that in like Christianity.
Oh yeah.
Because well, first of all, if you look at paintings of when Jesus was born, you see narcissus flowers.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're called narcissus in English. I don't know, but a certain type of flower that only grows in spring.
Yeah. When
do we celebrate that Christ is born?
December.
Yeah. what they did is they took the age-old thing they had, and they adjusted it to the German folks that were living there, and like more people who weren't used to Christianity, to make it more, to kind of implement bits of their religion in Christianity. So they had like this the god of suns, and they implemented that with like zonnefeest, like Easter and shit, like all that. So it was kind of adjusted to make it more approachable for new people to have this religion.
Okay, but you said because you said Jesus at the cross had the flowers, right?
No, when he was born.
Oh, okay.
Well, the birth of Jesus, there are these flowers.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think in a lot of cultures they talk about like also a date in December, but I'm not too sure about the exact one.
Yeah.
But interesting, regardless.
Right? Yeah.
But I think Christianity has done a lot of smearing in the past.
Yeah, and it's always we're almost at the end of the episode. Always fun to remember that hell didn't exist in the Old Testament.
Yeah, definitely interesting.
Because Earth was hell, right? No, for real, because this was the punishment of people.
Yeah.
Right, memento mori.
Yeah.
This was the punishment of people. There was no hell, but at some point we needed a hell. Like we needed punishment. Like, oh no.
Yeah.
If you fuck up, you're gonna go to an even worse place. And I think that's not batching on Christianity, but it's saying a lot about society that we kind of need a punishment because else we're not gonna do any good.
That makes sense, and I think it's just also more to even assert more power without necessarily needing to kill people. Because I think introducing hell is kind of like the extra step of now people are terrified and want to behave to not go to that place.
Yeah, but that's interesting, right?
Yeah, definitely.
That wasn't in the Old Testament.
Oh yeah.
I feel like people always forget that at some point there was no hell.
Yeah.
This was hell.
Yeah.
I do feel that.
And I think it's also interesting if we look at religions, right, where we have certain buildings or certain sites that mean a lot to a lot of religions. And it's like, if you see that, then I feel like we are always raised to believe that every religion is completely different from one another, right? But we have these, like, for example, Temple Mount in Jerusalem, right?
Yeah.
It's one of the highest sites for Jews, for Islam, and Christianity.
Yeah.
It's like, so why is this one of the holiest sites for all of you? And that's not what we talk about, I feel like.
Yeah, so to end the episode, I think we can again say, because this is also with gender, sexuality, religion, we have so much more that we have in common than things that are different.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's also nice to focus on the things we have in common.
100%.
Because there are way more things we have in common. I mean, I don't know, we all, love it when we just make the train. We all hate it when we just miss the train, but we all really love it when someone gets stuck in the doors of the train. That's just the way life is. So we all look different, act different, but we're all the same. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, fact. I think that's a good way to end it. Just love everybody, and if you laugh at everybody, it's not anything. It's just having fun. All right. With that said, thank you for listening.
See you next week. Right?
Peace.